Hi guys, good evening and welcome back once again to the EdWord. I'm your host Eddie, and in tonight's video I will be discussing what I thought of the latest and super gnarly episode of The Walking Dead, Dead City. Guys, we have one episode left next week, and that is the season 1 finale. Can you believe it? Man, what a watch the show has been. I had a chance to watch it earlier tonight as I was busy Thursday and Friday night because the episode first dropped on AMC Plus on Thursday like it normally does. So before I give you my very spoiler-filled review, again, please be warned, this is a spoiler-filled review, so if you're not caught up on Dead City by the most recent episode, you don't want to keep watching or listening, as I will be discussing spoilers. That being said, you have been warned. Let's dive right back into it. So we got a couple of interesting reveals in this episode. It turns out Tommaso was not necessarily a traitor, but he ratted out Maggie and the tribes people to the Croat of warning him about their attack. And he did it in exchange for the Croats' promise of sending him and Amia, his lady, to the both of them to the mainland, to this possibly fictional, possibly real sanctuary. I don't know. It's hard to say. And Tommaso, you know, they didn't make him a hateable or unlikable character. He might have done some unsavory things, but in the end, he died expressing his love and concern for Amia. And you realize he really did do it for her. He really did love her that much, even at the expense of their own people. But he paid for it with his life, as she did too, unfortunately. And then we got interesting, well, it wasn't really a reveal. We already knew this, but it was a reveal to the character Armstrong, the marshal, when Negan told him why he was a wanted man. The look of surprise on Armstrong's face tells us that he didn't know why Negan is a wanted man. He just knows he is a wanted man, and it was his job to bring him to justice. And it seems like he's still trying to do that, even though he's in no condition to. And will he see his mission through to the end? Who knows? We'll find out in the next episode in the season finale if he lives or not. I mean, he's probably going to survive, but who knows? So it was an interesting reveal to Armstrong, and what was interesting to me to see the look on his face, his reaction, learning that news when Negan is like, hey, the magistrate and those 4 other guys I killed, they beat the hell out of my wife, and so you would have done the same thing had you seen her if she was your wife. And you see the look on Armstrong's face, and he's like, oh, maybe this guy was in the right after all. Maybe this was like a justifiable homicide, I think is the term, or whatever. I don't know. And then another interesting reveal. The Croat may not necessarily be the one running the island. Apparently there's a woman above him or on the same level. And although he seems to be serving her and her needs, and they also seem to be working under the same mission, which is the Croat doesn't want Negan dead. He doesn't want to kill Negan. He wants Negan back. It's like he wants the old Negan back. And that would explain his little outburst in the car, just his sheer frustration coming to a boiling point, which would explain his reaction in the previous episode when he witnessed Negan saving Armstrong after he pushed him from the balcony. He obviously didn't expect Negan to do that because he thought he was still the same old Negan, leader of the Saviors. So it seems like the Croat and this woman are trying to keep civilization out of New York City, and they want Negan to be their new leader or commander, possibly. It's hard to say, but it was an interesting reveal how the Croat doesn't actually want Negan dead or doesn't want to kill him at all for revenge for blowing off his ear. He wants him as his boss again. Or at least this woman wants him as the boss again. I don't know. We'll hopefully get some answers in the season 1 finale next week. We'll see. And then, along with the interesting reveals we got one of the nastiest, gnarliest, and most awesome-looking walkers I have ever seen that this franchise has ever done. This franchise has done some memorable, disgusting, gnarly, awesome-looking zombies. But I don't know if any come close to what has now been dubbed as the Walker King, which was apparently several walkers walked through or went through another walker with probably with holes or openings in its torso. And then they molded together because it seems like the bodies in the sewer down there are melting and coming together to form the methane fuel. And it turned into like a super walker, which I was going to call it, but it seems to have an official name, which is the Walker King. And this thing was awesome and gnarly as hell. And Maggie, of course, had to be the one to put it down. All by herself, might I add. Ginny did not come back to help her like I thought she would. Maggie had to put that son of a bitch down all by herself and did it very well. I'm sure it was exhausting and probably smelled to high heaven. But man, that thing was awesome. Gnarly as hell, but awesome. Never quite seen a walker like that before. Trying to think across the other shows, the main show and Fear, nothing else is really coming to mind. I mean, there have been some memorable, awesome-looking zombies throughout the franchise, especially on the main show. But I don't recall ever seeing anything like that before, and I loved it. It got some short screen time, and obviously it wasn't going to live very long, but it was beautiful in the short amount of time that we got it in, so I'm grateful for that. So overall, very entertaining episode, interesting reveals. Next week is already the season 1 finale. Now, considering the ongoing writer's strike and the new actor strike, which is basically the actors joining forces with the writers in Hollywood right now, it's a little hard to tell if we're going to get any kind of news, announcements, or confirmations out of Comic-Con next week, because so many actors will not be attending in an act of solidarity with the strike. So will we get any announcements or confirmations confirming this show is getting a second season or not? I have no idea. Only time will tell. But fingers crossed, we'll get something out of Comic-Con despite the minimal amount and effort that will probably go into it because of the strike. So, only time will tell. But I hope you guys enjoyed this episode as much as I did. What did you think of it? I'd love to hear your thoughts and feelings. Thank you so much for watching this review. Don't forget the Season 1 finale drops next week on AMC Plus next Thursday, and then subsequently on AMC the following Sunday. Much like how this episode will be dropping tomorrow on regular AMC as well. So stay tuned for that. Have a great rest of your night and weekend, everyone. I know the weather's pretty crazy right now all across the country, so stay cool and safe out there. And of course, until next time, may the Force be with you.